Production Wizard controls the key operations involved in day-to-day batching. These procedures match what's going on in your plant. Filling tanks with raw ingredients, measuring the composition of tank ingredients, and making product. Using Production Wizard for day-to-day operations is simple. You will always work from one menu tab, Production Wizard. Click on the Production Wizard tab. In this example, we're going to update the composition of a tank ingredient. To use this procedure, the user must first tell Production Wizard what and how much is in each tank. To learn more about filling tanks with raw ingredients, watch the example using the Tank Status Editor. Get it started updating tank composition. Click the Start Ingredient Update Tool menu item. The Ingredient Composition Update Tool window appears. Before we get started, I should point out that the number of tanks shown and the name of the tanks in your copy most likely will be different, but the procedures used to update tank composition are the same. The Ingredient Composition Update Tool is designed to lead you through the process. Notice the progress bar at the bottom left portion of the window. In each step, the user will follow the instructions provided and click the next button. Let's familiarize ourselves with the rest of the features in this window. The top portion shows the selected tank, the date and time this ingredient was placed in the tank, the reference number of the tank ingredient, and the date and time the composition of this ingredient was last updated. Below this is a search feature, which is used to find a tank ingredient based on either the ingredient name or the ingredient reference number. Below the search feature is a list of ingredients currently residing in tanks. Only tanks containing ingredients are shown. Empty tanks are not displayed in the list. Remember again that the names of the tank ingredients and the numbers shown on your copy of Production Wizard will most likely differ, but how things work remains the same. The list shows the name of the tank ingredient, the date and time the ingredient was placed in the tank, the date and time the composition of the ingredient was last updated, the tank name, and the ingredient reference number. The list of tank ingredients can be sorted by clicking the Ingredient button, Last Change button, or the Reference Number button. The list is always sorted in ascending order based on the button you clicked. The composition of the selected ingredient is displayed here. This shows the selected ingredient's composition for each property in the ingredient file. You can scroll through the list to find values of interest. Next, the current Production Wizard ingredient file location is shown. The name and location of your ingredient file may be different. The Look-In button provides for selecting a different ingredient file. Most likely you will never have to use this button. The buttons at the bottom portion of the window include the Tank Info button, Cancel, Back, Next, and Finish buttons. Click the Tank Info button. This shows the current information for each tank. Notice that the ingredients allowed in the selected tank are displayed here. Click the Close button. Cream was placed in tank 1 at 7 a.m. this morning. The total solids and fat of the cream have been determined. The composition of this ingredient must be updated before it can be used for day-to-day batching. Make sure that Cream Tank 1 is selected and click the Next button. Step 2, Enter Ingredient Composition is shown. The progress bar is now on Step 2 as well. The current total solids and milk fat are displayed in the list. Depending on how an ingredient is configured by the administrator, the number of properties and their names in the list may vary. The lab determined that the composition of the cream is 45.4% total solids and 40% milk fat. Notice that total solids is already selected in the list. Enter the total solids amount, 45.4, in the text box and click the Update button. Or you can press the Enter button on your keyboard. This will update the total solids with the new value just entered. Notice that the entered value column is updated and the new total solids amount as well. The next property in the list, milk fat, is now selected. Enter the milk fat value, 40, in the text box and click the Update button. Or once again, you can press the Enter button on your keyboard. Now both the total solids and milk fat values are shown in the Entered Value column. Furthermore, the Entered Value column in the Calculated Composition list has been updated. You can scroll through the list to find values of interest. Now that the composition of the cream is updated, the Next button is active. Click the Next button. This puts us in step 3, Save Changes. Make sure that Yes is selected in the drop-down box to update the tank ingredient with the new composition information and click the Next button. Step 4 is the Finish step. This completes the process of updating the tank ingredient composition. The Finish button is now active. If we had another ingredient to update, we can click the Next button to go back to step 1. Since we are done updating tank composition, click the Finish button.